year. And we're on the date, the 2nd of Tishrei. The Bet Tishrei, naturally being the second day of Rosh Hashanah, marks the Hilula of a really great rabbi from Spanish descent, Rabbi David ben Shlomo Eben Zimra, also popularly known as the famous Radbaz. Really, really great rabbi. He was a Posek Halacha, he was a Rosh Yeshiva during his time. He was a head of the Jewish court and was one of the great rabbis during a time period, especially in Egypt and in Tzfat, and wrote many different Torah colossal works. Let's explore some of the highlights of the great rabbi's life. You could say in English, his name was Rabbi David ben Solomon Ibn Abi Zimra. That's another way of pronouncing him. He was, let's say, an early Achron. He was one of the great rabbis of the 15th and 16th century, obviously a Posek and Rosh Yeshiva. It's reported over that he was the author of more than 3,000 responsa. That's how staggering and incredible he was. He was actually born in Spain in the year 1479, around 13 years before the Spanish Inquisition had taken place. I believe when he was 13 years of age, like he actually had to be left from Spain along with the rest of Spanish Jewry at that point in time. And then I believe the family settled in Tzfat, which is very interesting enough. And he studied under the direction of another great person. His name was a Kabbalist, Rabbi Yosef Saragosi, a rabbi we've spoken about on various different occasions also. There was some reasons which not so apparent why he left the land of Israel. He was approximately aged 31 or 32, but he traveled, I believe, to Watasinid, Fez. I believe that is actually in Morocco in of itself, and he would actually become a member of the Bet Din there, the Jewish court, and he presided over the famous, I think, including the Nagid, the great Rabbi Isaac Sholal, another great rabbi over there. And then by the time of the year 1519, it was reported over, there was it was upon the abolition of, let's say, the office of the Nagid by the Turkish government. So the Radbaz would actually move on to Cairo. Cairo also had, I think, a very flourishing Jewish and religious community at that point in time. And over there, he was appointed the Chacham Bashir, which naturally was a very prominent position, like a chief rabbi kind of style position over there, which was a title reported over he had for 40 years. That's one of the longest standing chief rabbis worldwide, without doubt. That was a very prominent position, and it made him world famous. He had huge amounts of knowledge, integrity of character, great, let's say, philanthropy also. He was very wealthy. The Radbaz was a successful merchant with business connections in other countries. Let's say, for example, the yeshiva that he founded and supported attracted many distinguished students, among them including other great Talmidim and rabbis, later on rabbis, including Rabbi Bezalel Ashkenazi, who was a rabbi and also a great Gemara learner, expert also. He lived in Ottoman Israel, I think, during the 16th century. He was famous actually for the book, the Shita Mekubetzet. Another one of his students was the famous Isaac Luria, the Ari Kadosh, the great rabbi, the Arizal. That was, we see how much of a great rabbi to have a great student like that. You must have been a top rabbi. I believe in his introduction of the Song of Songs, Isaac Akrish actually paints in vivid colors the character of the famous character of the Radbaz, in whose house he actually lived in for 10 years accordingly. According to the famous Rav Akrish, the Radbaz was prominent in both social and political life of Egypt, thanks to his status as a wealthy intellectual over there. During the time, obviously, he spent time as a chief rabbi, naturally, over there for many years. He introduced many different new enactments, let's just say, in religious life in Egyptian Jewry. It was he, reported, who abolished the use of the Seleucid dating system in the Egyptian Jewish community and reintroduced the dating of years from the creation in of itself, as was done in various other Jewish communities and and obviously this is the coda of a calendar we use nowadays. When he reached the age of 90, I think he resigned from the chief rabbinate and divided the greater part of his fortune among the poor, doing huge chesed. He made special provision for Torah, Talmidim, Torah scholars in of themselves. He would later on then move to Jerusalem, but he didn't stay there for long because I think there was huge taxes, Ottoman Empire imposed on the Jewish people. So then he would actually settle in Tzfat, in the capital of Safad Sanjak, and over there he became an active member of the Bet Din, once again the rabbinical court. I think that was presided over by the famous Rabbi Yosef Karo, Maran as we call him, the famous rabbi, the author of the Code of Jewish Law, who held him in great esteem. He spent the last 20 years of his life in obviously in greatness And I believe he passed away in the year 1573. He would have been 94 years of age at that point in time. He was buried in the Old Sfat cemetery, it was reported over. Now let's explore some of the great works he wrote. He left us with a lot of colossal works, including Klalei HaGemara, which was printed in the Sefer Marei Nemarim. There was a Yakaret Teferet, also, which was Perush on the Mishnah Torah, an explanation on the Mishnah Torah of the Rambam, also was printed in various different halakim. Then there was Mitzudot David, which is another great work on the Mitzudot David. I think it was on Nevi'im, the book of Nevi'im in of itself, and the Tariag Mitzvot, the 613 Mitzvot. Then the Magen David, another great work, which was a book on Kabbalah, which was, I think, done in the code of order of the alphabet. Then there was Migdal David, or you could call it the Michtam David also, which is an explanation on Shir Hashirim, the Song of Songs, through Kabbalistic learning. And then there was Klalei Kitzur Sefer HaPili'ah, which was a Sefer Kablei Shiatza Le'or B'Yerushalayim. It was printed, I think, in the year Tafresh Ayin Daled. It actually had a special agaot of the Biorim of Marav Menachem Manchin Helprin, if I'm not mistaken. There was Ketem Malchut, another great work, Tefillah for Yom Kippur. We're coming into Yom Kippur now, also, so very much interesting. And Mivchar HaEmunah also, which is a sefer on Kabbalah. He did a sifrei of the She'elot and Shuvot. Many, as we said before, thousands of responses he actually did. Shut HaRadbaz, it was called. There was a Shut HaRadbaz, Leshonot HaRambam. There was a Shut Divrei David, and the Shut Hon Yosef, if I'm not mistaken, also. So really, really great Torah works the great rabbi actually did on itself. And he passed away, as we said before, in around the year 1573. He was 94 years of age, born in Spain. He passed away, he was buried in Tzfat. The great rabbis of Jewish history, without a doubt. And a rabbi maybe we should speak about more in other different classes of the different places also. So wishing you all a good day. Just recording this before Rosh Hashanah. So wishing you a Shana Tova U'Metuka and a Kitiva V'Chatima Tova. Wishing you all well, and please subscribe to the channel.